The stars were burning when Nova Station died. Admiral Kang Taeho stood in the command center of the UES Horizon, watching the footage that every human in the galaxy was watching at the same moment. His hands were steady. His face showed nothing. But inside his chest, something cold and heavy was growing. Nova Station had been a small place, a mining colony on the edge of human space. 12,000 people lived there. Families, workers, children who played in the station's garden dome and dreamed of seeing Earth one day. Now, 3,000 of them were dead. The Vrel had come without warning. Their warships appeared from hyperspace like wolves falling upon sheep. The station's small defense force fought bravely for 11 minutes. Then they were gone, and the Vrel soldiers walked through the corridors with their weapons raised. The broadcast showed everything. The Vrel wanted the galaxy to see. They wanted everyone to watch as their soldiers lined up civilians against the walls. Old men, young women, children holding their mothers' hands. The sound of weapons firing, bodies falling, screaming that seemed to go on forever. Admiral Taeho watched it all. He did not look away. He owed the dead that much. When the killing stopped, a Vrel commander appeared on screen. His name was Tosk, and he was smiling. His gray skin stretched over sharp bones, and his 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Humans of Earth," Tosk said, "you have seen what we can do. We hold 9,000 of your people. They will die like the others unless you give us what we want." He listed 3 star systems, rich systems, systems that humanity had spent decades developing. "You have 1 week," Tosk said. "Negotiate or watch more of your children die." The broadcast ended. In the command center, no one spoke. Captain Lee Minho, a young officer standing near the admiral, finally broke the silence. "Sir," Minho said quietly, "what do we do?" Admiral Taeho turned away from the screen. His eyes were calm, but there was something in them that made Minho step back. "We wait," Taeho said. "We wait for our orders." Across the galaxy, on the great station that housed the Galactic Council, Ambassador Park Yuna was walking into the largest chamber in known space. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of species sent representatives here to discuss trade, borders, and peace. For 800 years, the council had kept order in the galaxy. Wars happened, but they were small. Conflicts were resolved through negotiation. Everyone understood the rules. Yuna had served as Earth's ambassador for 12 years. She was known for her elegant manners, her patient diplomacy, and her warm smile. Other ambassadors liked her. They thought humans were a pleasant species, friendly, cooperative, perhaps a little naive. Today, Yuna was not smiling. The chamber was already full when she entered. Hundreds of alien faces turned toward her. Some showed sympathy, some showed curiosity, some showed nothing at all. High Chancellor Mech, an ancient being with silver skin and tired eyes, spoke first. "Ambassador Park," he said, "the Council offers its deep sympathy for the tragedy at Nova Station. This is a terrible day." Yuna bowed her head slightly. "Thank you, Chancellor." "We have convened this emergency session to discuss the path forward," Mech continued. "The Vrel Dominion has made demands. Several council members have offered to serve as mediators. We believe a peaceful resolution is possible." Councillor Rilo, a tall being covered in blue feathers, stood up. His species, the Teleni, were famous diplomats. "Ambassador Park," Rilo said gently, "they are harsh, but they are rational. They want territory, not war. If Earth offers something of value, they will release the hostages. This is how the galaxy has always worked." Other ambassadors nodded. Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. "We recommend beginning negotiations immediately," Rilo continued. "Time is short. Every hour of delay puts more human lives at risk." Yuna stood in silence for a long moment. Every eye in the chamber was on her. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm and clear, and it carried to every corner of the vast room. "The Vrel murdered 3,000 innocent people," she said. "They killed children. They broadcast it for entertainment. They laughed while families begged for mercy." The chamber was very quiet now. "And you want us to reward them," Yuna continued. "You want us to give them exactly what they killed for. You want us to teach them that murder works." Counselor Rilo shifted uncomfortably. "Ambassador, this is not about reward. This is about saving the 9,000 who still live." Yuna looked at him. Her eyes were hard as stone. "If we give the Vrel what they want, they will do this again. To us, to others. Every species in this galaxy will learn that the way to get what you want from humans is to murder our children." She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice filled the entire chamber. "Earth does not negotiate with murderers." The silence that followed was absolute. Hundreds of species, thousands of diplomats, all frozen in shock. High Chancellor Mech leaned forward. "Ambassador Park, please consider carefully. The Vrel will kill the hostages." "Yes," Yuna said quietly, "they might. And Earth will accept that." Yuna's voice was soft now, but somehow it carried even further than before. "Earth will weep for every life lost. We will remember every name. We will honor every death. And then we will make sure that no one ever thinks of doing this to us again." She turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, she stopped and looked back at the stunned council. "Humanity learned long ago that some things are worse than death," she said. "Living as cowards is one of them." She left. The chamber erupted in confused noise behind her. Across the galaxy, Admiral Kang Taeho received a single message from Earth Command. He read it once, then looked up at his officers. "Begin preparations," he said quietly. "Operation Silent Thunder is now active." Captain Lee Minho felt a chill run down his spine. He had served under the Admiral for 3 years. He had never seen that look in the old man's eyes before. It was not anger. It was not grief. It was certainty, and the galaxy was about to learn what that really meant. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Humanity had refused to negotiate. The soft, friendly species that everyone thought they understood had looked at the Vrel Dominion and said no. Not maybe, not let us discuss it. Just no. On 1,000 worlds, beings of every shape and color watched the recordings of Ambassador Park Yuna's speech. They saw her calm face, they heard her quiet voice, and they could not understand what they were seeing. Counselor Rilo sat alone in his private chamber that night, thinking. He had lived for 300 years. He had helped end 47 wars. He had saved millions of lives through careful words and patient compromise. And he had never met a species like humans before. The next morning, he went to see Ambassador Park. Yuna received him in Earth's embassy. The room was simple compared to most alien spaces. There were plants by the windows. Pictures of mountains and oceans hung on the walls. A photograph of a smiling family sat on the desk. "Counselor," Yuna said politely, "please sit." Rilo sat. For a long moment he just looked at her. "Ambassador, I have been a diplomat since before your species discovered fire," he said. "I'd have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species destroy themselves over pride and stubbornness. I am asking you, please, to reconsider." Yuna poured tea for both of them. Her movements were slow and graceful. "Tell me, Counselor," she said, "how many times have the Vrel done this before?" Rilo paused. "This is their way. They are aggressive. They take what they want through strength." "How many times?" 17 times in the last century. They attack a weak target, take hostages, and demand payment. It is how they expand. And every time, the victims paid? It saves lives in the short term. Yuna nodded slowly. And after they paid, did the Vrel stop? Did they become peaceful neighbors? Rilo did not answer. They both knew the truth. The Vrel never stopped. They just chose new victims. The galaxy had taught them that murder worked. Counselor, Yuna said gently, 300 years ago, my people had a nation on Earth that tried to take over the world. They were strong. They were cruel. They killed millions. And the other nations of Earth tried to make peace with them. They gave them territory. They hoped it would satisfy them. She looked at the photograph on her desk. It did not satisfy them. It made them hungry for more. Millions more died before we stopped them. We learned a lesson that cost us oceans of blood. She looked back at Rilo. We will not unlearn it now. Rilo stood up slowly. His feathers were dim with sadness. I hope you know what you are doing, Ambassador. Because if you are wrong, 9,000 of your people will die. If we are wrong, yes, Yuna said. But if we are right, we will save millions of future lives. Not just human lives, lives of every species the Vrel would have targeted next. Rilo left without another word. That same day, on Earth, General Bei Wujin met with President Shinbora in the underground command center beneath the capital. The room was full of screens showing fleet positions, intelligence reports, and real-time communications from across human space. Officers moved quietly between stations. The air was thick with tension. The Council has condemned us, Wujin reported. They are threatening economic sanctions if we do not begin negotiations within 48 hours. President Shin nodded. She was a small woman with gray hair and a face that had seen many hard years. She had been a soldier before she was a politician. She understood what was coming. Let them threaten, she said. What is the status of the 7th Fleet? Admiral Kang reports they will be in position within 72 hours. Our intelligence teams have confirmed the location where the hostages are being held. The Vrel defensive network? Strong, Wujin admitted. They have 3 times our numbers in that sector. If we go in with a traditional assault, we will lose. Shinbora smiled slightly. It was not a happy smile. Good thing we are not planning a traditional assault. She walked to a secure cabinet and entered a code. Inside were files marked with the highest level of classification. For 80 years, she said, we have shown the galaxy our trading ships and our diplomats. We have smiled and cooperated and made friends. We let them think we were soft. She handed Wujin a file. We were never soft. But our scientists never stopped working. Our engineers never stopped building. We prepared for the day when peace would fail us. Wujin opened the file. His eyes widened. The Council has no idea these weapons exist, he said. No one does, Shin replied. The Vrel think they are attacking a species of merchants and diplomats. They are about to learn how wrong they are. On the Vrel carrier holding the hostages, Commander Tosk was growing impatient. 4 days had passed, and the humans had said nothing. No diplomats, no offers, no begging. His second-in-command, Voss, approached nervously. Commander, the humans are not responding to any communications. Our spies report that their government has gone silent. Tosk made a sound of disgust. They are frightened. They need more motivation. He ordered his soldiers to gather 500 more hostages. The cameras began broadcasting again. The galaxy watched as more innocents died. Tosk smiled at the camera afterward. Humans, he said, you see now that we are serious. You have 3 days left. Negotiate, or all of them die. Across the galaxy, Admiral Kang Tae-ho watched the broadcast. His officers were pale with horror and rage. Some of them were crying. Tae-ho's face did not change. He simply reached for the communication device and spoke to his fleet. Move up the timeline, he said. We go in 48 hours. Captain Lee Minho stood beside him. Sir, we will not have full support in place by then. The odds will be against us. Taeho looked at the frozen image of Commander Tosk's smiling face. "The odds have never mattered to humans, Captain," he said quietly. "Only the cause." He turned to his officers. "Send a message to every ship in the fleet. Tell them about the 500 who died." His voice was like iron. "And tell them that in 48 hours, we will answer." High Chancellor Mech had not slept in 3 days. The old leader sat in his private chamber, staring at the communication screen. He had sent 47 messages to Earth in the last 72 hours. None of them had received a response. The humans had gone completely silent. In all his centuries of life, Mech had never seen anything like this. When species were threatened, they talked. They bargained. They begged if they had to. That was how civilization worked. That was how everyone survived. But the humans were not talking. They were not bargaining. They were just quiet. It terrified him. He tried one more time. He recorded a personal message to President Shin Bora and sent it through every channel he could access. "President Shin," he said, his silver face heavy with worry. "I am begging you. Please respond. The Council can still help. We can find a solution that saves your people. But you must talk to us. You must negotiate." He waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. The screen remained dark. Finally, after 6 hours, a response came. It was not from the president. It was from a junior diplomatic officer at Earth's embassy. The message was only one line. "Earth has nothing to say." Mech closed his eyes. He understood now. This was not fear. This was not confusion. This was something else. The humans had made their decision, and they were not going to change it. What he did not understand was what they were planning to do instead. In the intelligence section of the Galactic Council, a young Teleni officer named Ryla was also working without sleep. She had been tracking human fleet movements for the past week, trying to understand what was happening. What she found made her blood run cold. She ran to Counselor Rylo's office and threw herself inside without knocking. "You need to see this." Rylo looked up from his desk, surprised. "What is it?" "The human 7th Fleet. It is gone." "Gone? What do you mean gone?" Ryla pulled up a holographic map. 3 days ago, the fleet was stationed at their base near the Orange system. Standard position. But yesterday, they vanished. No signals, no tracking beacons, nothing. She zoomed the map out. "I ran analysis on every hyperspace disturbance in the sector. Counselor, I think they are moving toward Vrel space." Rylo stood up slowly. His feathers rose in alarm. "That is impossible. The Vrel defensive network would destroy them. No sane commander would attack those positions." "I know, sir, but the humans are moving anyway." Rylo stared at the map. Somewhere out there, in the darkness between stars, human warships were flying towards certain death. Or so everyone believed. He thought about his conversation with Ambassador Park. He thought about her calm eyes and her quiet voice. He thought about the history she had described. A species that had learned its lessons in blood. "They are not running from a fight," he said slowly. "They are running toward one." Aboard the UES Horizon, Lieutenant Yoon Nari was putting the final pieces of the puzzle together. She was the fleet's intelligence officer, a quiet woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. For 6 months, she had been building a picture of Vrel military positions. Every patrol route, every defensive station, every weakness. Now she stood before Admiral Kang Taeho and his senior officers, presenting her findings. "The hostages are being held here," she said, pointing to a holographic image of a massive Vrel carrier. "The ship is called the Iron Fist. It is located deep in Vrel territory, protected by a network of 47 defensive stations and 3 patrol fleets." Captain Lee Minho studied the image. "The defenses look impossible to break through. They would be, Nari agreed, if we tried to fight through them. She changed the display. Now it showed energy signatures and communication patterns. But I have found something interesting. The Vrel defensive network is coordinated by a central command station here, she pointed. If that station goes down, the network loses coordination for approximately 7 minutes while backup systems come online. Admiral Tejo leaned forward. 7 minutes. That is not much time. No, sir. But it is enough for a small team to reach the Iron Fist and extract the hostages, if they move fast. And the patrol fleets? Nari smiled slightly. That is where our new weapons come in, sir. The Vrel have never seen what we can really do. They think they know our capabilities. They are wrong. This one showed technical readouts that made several officers gasp. EMP pulse bombs, gravity disruption fields, stealth technology that makes our ships invisible to their sensors. We have been developing these in secret for decades. The Vrel have no defense against them. Minho shook his head in wonder. The Council has no idea any of this exists. No one does, Tejo said quietly. Earth kept these weapons hidden because we hoped we would never need them. We wanted to be a peaceful species. We wanted to prove that civilization could work without violence. He stood and walked to the viewport. Stars streamed past as the ship flew through hyperspace. But we always knew that some enemies do not understand peace. Some enemies only understand strength. And when those enemies came for us, we would be ready. He turned back to his officers. Tomorrow we reach Vrel space. In 36 hours, we will launch Operation Silent Thunder. Our mission is simple. Disable their defenses. Rescue our people. Show the galaxy what happens when you murder human children. He looked at each of them in turn. This will not be easy. Some of us may not come back. But every person on those ships knew what they signed up for. We are the sword of humanity. When our people are in danger, we answer. The officers stood at attention. Every face was hard, with determination. Captain Minho spoke for all of them. Sir, what about the Galactic Council? They have condemned our actions. They are threatening sanctions. Admiral Tejo smiled. It was a cold smile. Let them threaten. When this is over, the Council will understand something important about humans. What is that, sir? Tejo looked back at the stars. We are kind because we choose to be. We are peaceful because we prefer it. But when you hurt our families, when you kill our innocent, all of that kindness and peace goes away. And what is left underneath? He paused. What is left is something the galaxy has never seen before. And the Vrel are about to meet it face to face. The first sign that something was wrong came at 0300 hours, Vrel Standard Time. On Defensive Station 12, a Vrel officer named Kos was drinking bitter tea and watching his sensors. It was a quiet night. The humans had gone silent days ago, and everyone believed they had given up. Commander Tosk was already planning what to do with the 3 star systems he would soon control. Kos yawned and looked at his screen again. Then he sat up straight. There was something on the edge of his sensor range, a flicker, a shadow. He adjusted his instruments and looked closer. Nothing. The screen was clear. He relaxed and reached for his tea again. Then every light on his station went out. The EMP pulse bomb hit without warning. One moment, Defensive Station 12 was fully operational. The next moment, it was dark and dead, drifting in space without power. Kos floated in zero gravity, unable to see, unable to call for help, unable to do anything but wait. Across the Vrel defensive network, the same thing was happening everywhere. Admiral Kang Tejo stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, watching the operation unfold on his tactical display. One by one, Vrel stations went dark. No explosions, no deaths. Just silence. Phase 1 complete, Lieutenant Yunari reported. 39 of 47 stations are disabled. The remaining 8 are scrambling to coordinate, but their communication networks are down. Patrol fleets? Confused and scattered. They cannot see us on their sensors. Our stealth systems are working perfectly. Taeho nodded. Begin Phase 2. Captain Minho, take us to the Iron Fist. The human fleet moved through Vrel space like ghosts. Their weapons could not target what they could not see. They fired randomly into the darkness, hoping to hit something, but the human ships slipped past like shadows. On the Vrel carrier Iron Fist, Commander Tosk was screaming at his officers. What is happening? Where did they come from? How are they doing this? No one could answer him. The humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be afraid. They were not supposed to be flying through his defenses like they did not exist. Commander, Voss said desperately, we should retreat. We can use the hostages as shields. Tosk turned on him with fury in all 4 eyes. We do not run from humans. Launch all fighters, find them, and destroy them. But it was too late. The humans were already there. The first assault ship attached to the Iron Fist's hull without a sound. Inside, Sergeant Major Han Jiho checked his weapons one last time and looked at his team. The Black Stars were the best soldiers humanity had. Every one of them had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come back. Every one of them had watched the broadcasts of the massacre. Every one of them had the faces of dead children burned into their memory. Remember the mission, Jiho said quietly. Find the hostages, get them out. Anyone who gets in our way goes down, but we do not kill unless we have to. We are not like them. The team nodded. They were angry, but they were controlled. This was what made humans dangerous. They could feel rage and still think clearly. Go. They cut through the hull and poured into the ship. The Vrel soldiers were not prepared. They were good fighters, but they had never faced anything like the Black Stars. The humans moved in perfect coordination, covering every angle, taking down enemies before they could raise their weapons. Jiho led the way, his movements fast and precise. Every corner, every corridor, every room. He had memorized the ship's layout. He knew exactly where the hostages were being held. They reached the detention area in 4 minutes. The door was sealed with heavy locks. Blow it, Jiho ordered. The explosion echoed through the ship. Inside, 9,000 humans looked up with fear in their eyes. They had been told they would die. They had been told no one was coming for them. They were wrong. Medic Oh Suman was the first through the door. She saw the scared faces, the thin bodies, the eyes that had lost all hope. She spoke in Korean, her voice soft and warm. It is okay. We came for you. We always come. A little girl, no more than 6 years old, grabbed Suman's hand. Are you really here? She whispered. This is not a dream. Suman knelt down and hugged her. Not a dream, little one. We are taking you home. On the bridge of the Iron Fist, Tosk watched his ship fall apart around him. Human soldiers were everywhere. His crew was surrendering or running. His communications were jammed. His weapons were useless. Then Admiral Kang Taeho's voice came through every speaker on the ship. Commander Tosk, this is Admiral Kang Taeho of the United Earth Fleet. Your defensive network is disabled. Your patrol fleets are scattered. Your ship is surrounded. You have lost. Tosk grabbed a communicator with shaking hands. You think you have won? I will kill the hostages. All of them. I will. The hostages are already in our hands, Taeho interrupted calmly. Your detention level has been secured. Your soldiers there have surrendered. It is over. Tosk stood frozen. This was not how it was supposed to happen. You murdered our people, Taeho continued. You recorded it. You laughed. You thought we would bend. You thought we would break. His voice grew colder. Now understand this, Commander. We do not negotiate with murderers. We answer them. Outside, the human fleet systematically destroyed every Vrel military installation in the system. Not planets, not civilians, just warships and weapons. Precise, methodical, complete. In one night, the Vrel lost 60% of their military power. Their empire, built on fear and violence, was crippled. The species that had terrorized this region of space for centuries was brought to its knees by a species they had thought was soft and weak. On the surface of a nearby planet, Vrel civilians watched human ships fly overhead. They waited for the bombs to fall. They waited for revenge. But the bombs never came. The humans took only military targets. They left everyone else alone. And somehow, that was more terrifying than anything else. The galaxy watched in silence. No one knew what to say. The species they had thought they understood had just rewritten every rule of galactic warfare. And they had done it in a single night. 1 month after Operation Silent Thunder, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The transport ships carrying the rescued hostages arrived on Earth to crowds that filled every street and rooftop in the capital city. 9,000 people walked down the ramps into the arms of their families. Mothers held children they thought they would never see again. Husbands embraced wives they had been told were dead. The cheering was so loud it could be heard from space. But amid the joy, there was also grief. 3,500 people had not come home. Their names were read aloud in a ceremony that lasted 6 hours. Every name, every story, every face shown on screens across human space. President Shin Bora stood before the memorial and spoke to her people. "We did not choose this fight," she said. "We wanted peace. We have always wanted peace. But when evil men murder innocent people and expect us to bow, we do not bow. We answer." She paused, her voice heavy with emotion. "To those we lost, we make this promise. We will remember you. We will honor you. And we will build a galaxy where no one else has to die because tyrants thought they could kill without consequence." Across the galaxy, the Vrel Dominion was in chaos. Their fleet was destroyed. Their defensive network was gone. Their commander, Tosk, was in human custody, along with the officers who had ordered and carried out the massacre. The Vrel leaders sent message after message to Earth, begging for peace. They offered territory. They offered resources. They offered anything the humans wanted. Earth responded with 3 words: justice comes first. And so, for the first time in galactic history, war crimes tribunals were held for actions taken against humans. Commander Tosk and 17 of his officers stood before a court of human judges. The evidence was overwhelming. Communication logs, testimony from survivors. The entire galaxy watched as the full horror of the massacre was presented piece by piece. The Vrel expected human vengeance. They expected torture. They expected execution. Instead, they received something that confused them even more. The trials were fair. Every defendant had a lawyer. Every piece of evidence was examined carefully. When the verdicts came, they were based on law and fact, not emotion. Tosk was found guilty of crimes against humanity and sentenced to life imprisonment. Not death, not torture, just a cell where he would spend the rest of his days thinking about what he had done. Ambassador Park Yuna explained the decision to a stunned Galactic Council. "Execution would be easy," she said. "It would feel good, but we are not the Vrel. We do not kill for satisfaction. We believe in justice, even for our enemies, especially for our enemies, because that is what separates civilization from barbarism." Counselor Rilo listened to her words and finally understood something that had confused him from the beginning. The humans were not unpredictable. They were not irrational. They simply operated by a different set of rules. Rules they had learned through centuries of war and peace on their own world. Rules that seemed strange to the rest of the galaxy, but made perfect sense when you understood their history. They did not negotiate with murderers because negotiation rewarded murder. They did not execute their enemies because execution made them no better than those enemies. They showed mercy not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to control their anger. After the tribunals, High Chancellor Mech called a special session of the Galactic Council. Every species sent representatives. The chamber was more crowded than it had been in 300 years. Mech stood and addressed the assembly. "I have served this council for a very long time," he said. "I thought I understood how the galaxy worked. I thought I understood all the species in it. I was wrong." He turned toward the section where Ambassador Park Yuna sat. "The humans taught us something important. They showed us that there are things more valuable than safety. There are principles worth defending, even at great cost. They reminded us that civilization is not built on convenience. It is built on lines that we refuse to cross." He paused and pressed a button. A document appeared on every screen in the chamber. "The Council has voted to issue a new advisory for all species regarding humanity. I will read it now." The chamber fell silent. Galactic Advisory. Species, human. Do not mistake their kindness for weakness. Do not mistake their patience for fear. They will trade with you. They will help you. They will befriend you. But if you harm their innocent, if you murder their children, if you believe they will bow to terror, you will learn why their ancient warriors had a saying: "Those who seek peace must prepare for war." He looked around the chamber. "Let this be remembered. Let it be taught. Let no one ever again make the mistake the Vrel made." The chamber erupted in applause. Species that had never agreed on anything were united in respect for what humanity had done. In a quiet corner of Earth, Admiral Kong Taeho visited the memorial for the victims of Nova Station. It was a simple place, a garden, a wall of names, a view of the stars. Captain Lee Minho walked beside him. They stood in silence for a long time, looking at the names of the dead. "The galaxy is different now," Minho said quietly, "because of what we did. But I do not know if it is better. Do you regret it?" The Admiral thought about the question. He thought about the 9,000 people they had saved. He thought about the 3,500 they had lost. He thought about the message they had sent to the entire galaxy. "No," he finally said, "I do not regret it. Some things have to be defended, no matter the cost. Our ancestors learned that. We learned it again." He placed a single white flower at the base of the memorial. "Do you think the galaxy finally understands us?" Minho asked. Taeho looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of beings were learning about humanity for the first time. Learning that kindness and strength could exist in the same heart. Learning that the most peaceful species could also be the most dangerous. "They understand enough," he said quietly. He turned and began walking away. Then he stopped and looked back. "And if they ever forget," he said, "we will remind them." The stars burned overhead, eternal and uncaring. But on this small blue world, one species stood together, united by grief and pride and an unbreakable promise. They would always come for their own, no matter how far, no matter how hard, no matter what it cost. That was what it meant to be human.